I quit smoking weed. Well, kinda. See, I started smoking when I was way too young, and I'm not talking about just a little hit out of an apple. I'm talking about full-blown Snoop Deal double G mode, you know what I mean? Typically, when people talk about cannabis, they speak about it like it's a very harmless substance, especially when they compare it to other things like alcohol or hard drugs, and well, there's some truth to that. The part that nobody talks about is what happens when you start consuming it at such a young age, especially in large amounts. There is 100% a correlation with the way consumption affects your brain development. You gotta understand, your brain doesn't fully finish developing until you're 25 years old. So anything you do before that, like drinking or substance abuse, is gonna have an effect on your brain development. And I noticed this with a lot of my friends around me that were consuming just like I was. It feels like they struggled a lot to become adults and just mature. And now at 28 years old, I feel like I'm getting hit with a brick wall because all of a sudden I'm having all these new thoughts and like realizations of maturity that I was supposed to have a really long time ago, but I was so busy getting faded, my boy, that I'm just now coming to these realizations. I 100% lost like 3 years worth of development from just getting faded so much at such a young age. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you probably already realized that I don't upload the same way I used to, and it's mainly because I've been going through this mental dilemma regarding my consumption amount and how much I should actually consume in order to be a productive human being. Now, I'm gonna take full accountability here because I've always been a believer that cannabis doesn't affect your productivity or who you are as a person. That's really just a reflection of who you are in general. But what it does do is it enhances your personality. So if you naturally have a personality to be lazy, you're gonna be extra lazy when you're faded. If you have a personality to like to eat a lot of food, you're gonna eat a lot more food when you're faded. And I noticed that over the last couple years, I've just developed so many bad habits because what happens is you start to grow up, you start to mature, and all of a sudden you have new problems, new stresses that you weren't dealing with before when you first started getting faded. So what do? You start getting faded to deal with your problems, and before you know it, you're working out less, you're eating less healthy, you're spending more time getting faded than actually solving your problems, and that shit builds up, bro. Years later, you start to get fat, you know what I'm saying? And you start to realize like, holy shit, maybe I'm not using the plant properly like I was before. As of recently, I've ran into a lot of supporters that'll tell me, yo, I used to watch your videos all the time and then I just stopped getting faded. And it really got me to thinking, right? As somebody who loves this plant, as somebody who's been consuming for such a long time, I really got to thinking and I was like, people quit consuming because they never build a good relationship with the plant. When life gets hard, they blame all their problems on the plant. Oh, I'm not fit because I smoke weed. Oh, I'm not productive because I smoke weed. No, you don't know how to build a proper relationship with the plant, and that is what this video is about today. So for the past couple months, I started really developing and focusing on what is the proper amount to consume. I did the cold turkey method, which only worked for so long. I'll get into that later in the video. I did the smoke it at nighttime method, which is probably one of my favorite methods. I feel like I'm the most productive throughout the day. And when I consume at night, it's just exactly what I need to unwind and just enjoy the rest of my day. And I've also done not smoking for multiple days and just, you know, consuming here and there throughout the week. The cold turkey method probably worked the best for giving me the fastest results because when I wasn't smoking at all day, it really made me start working on different things in my life that I kind of had stopped focusing on, like going back to the gym, eating healthier, and just having this new amount of free time to just think. It's like a clarity in your mind because all of a sudden you're not constantly faded all the time. All you're left with is your thoughts. However, after about a couple weeks of it, I started getting these insane migraines, like these crazy migraines I hadn't got ever in my life. After so many years of consuming, I realized that I actually don't know how to deal with stress without the plant. I would get faded to deal with the stress, and not getting faded led to me just overthinking and going down this rabbit hole where I was so stressed out. I started creating migraines for myself, and these migraines were so extremely painful. I'm talking about I was taking Advil, I would take all kinds of things. It would help for a while, but really what helped me the most was just taking a couple puffs. Now I know what you might say, well, that's addiction, bro. Your body's going through withdrawals. No, I was not fiending for the plant. Like, I'm itching, I gotta get faded. It was simply, I've relied on this plant for so long to deal with things like stress that I myself don't know how to deal with stress without the plant. So that led me to method number 2, which was consuming at night, which I felt personally was really fire because I was able to still get faded. I was able to still deal with my stress at the end of the day, and I was still giving my body and my mind enough time throughout the day to learn how to deal with the problems on my own. Then this nighttime smoking method quickly led to me only getting faded every other day or every couple days. And now I've realized that I just get faded whenever I can or whenever it happens. It's not really planned anymore. It's not necessarily like part of my day to be like, oh, I gotta go get faded. It just happens now naturally. And one thing I've realized is that I'm finally getting faded again. Literally, after so many years, I'm talking about over half of my lifetime at this point, I've been getting faded. I think I forgot what getting faded was, and it was really weird making content for y'all and almost having to act faded even though I was consuming, all because I had such a high tolerance, I couldn't get faded anymore. And now I'm having all these amazing experiences, like getting the munchies, getting tired, you know, nodding off, like just like all these things that I haven't experienced since like high school. I got this huge like a missile behind me right here. This video is not meant to convince anybody that they should stop smoking. This video is just meant to open your eyes that maybe you are consuming wrong. Yes, that's right. You might be over consuming and you might have not noticed it yet, but maybe over consuming has started to take a more negative impact on your life than you've even came to realize. And the truth of the matter is, if you don't fix it, you're gonna end up in a situation where you're gonna be like, well, I quit. I don't wanna do this anymore because it's ruining my life. But little did you know, all you had to do was make some adjustments, pump the brakes a little bit, sit back and really rebuild your relationship with this plant. I really want this video to just be a reminder that cannabis is a medicine, and when used properly, it can really help enhance your life. But if you abuse it, like anything in life, anything you do in excess, even drinking water, if you drink too much water, it's bad for you. This could be bad for you if you overconsume. So my biggest piece of advice is find your balance. I mean, when I say that, I mean it so literal. Let's say you're in a group of friends and everybody's consuming, right? If your tolerance is one hit, take one hit. And if everybody's like, oh man, you're such a bitch, like, you know, like, you're so scary, like, come on, bro, you gotta finish it, man, shut that noise off, bro. Turn that noise off. Don't care what people say. At the end of the day, it's your body and you gotta find your balance. And I find it that it's extremely mature of somebody to be like, yo, my balance is 1 or 2 hits and that's good. You know, my balance is getting faded once a week and I'm good. Well, maybe your friends are dealing with some other shit in life and their balance is like 5 joints in one day. That's fine. That's their life. Let them live their experience. Find your balance. And this is coming from Mr. THC himself, baby. If somebody tries telling you some shit, just be like, bro, you ain't Mr. THC, man. Mr. THC told me some real G shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just telling y'all the truth. Find your balance, and I promise you, you are gonna enjoy the plant 1,000 times more, and you're probably gonna stick around with it for a much, much longer time. I wanna end off this video by sharing a quick story. Back in the day, I had a friend, quiet kid, already kind of on the weirder side in my opinion, and you know, we started getting faded like everybody does in high school. At this point, our tolerance was really high. I'm talking about in the sesh. If it was 4 of us in the car, we would not crack a window. We'd leave the windows fully up and blow through 4 blunts each before ever putting the window down. Eventually, our tolerance got so high, we led to dabbing, and this is where I think he kind of like lost his shit, right? Like through dabbing and getting to these new levels of being faded, he ended up going schizo. I don't know his situation 110%. It was really weird. We were in high school, like I said. Before we knew it, he stopped responding to our text messages. We kind of stopped seeing him around, and I remember going to his house and his parents being like, yo, he's in the hospital, like he is not okay right now. And I was like, whoa, what happened? And coming to find out that the weed led to him going schizo. Now, there's people that want to back science up with this and say, whoa, you were already prone to going schizophrenic, so don't sit here and blame the weed. But the truth of the matter is, nobody really knows most of the time if they're prone to going schizophrenic. Plus, like, I've seen so many people get high and get so paranoid that they start losing their shit, they start panicking, and that's something that people don't really like to talk about, but that's the truth. If people have like these mental problems already, weed could definitely lead to that breaking point of you going from a normal human to somebody who just completely loses their shit, right? Then we have somebody who's done it publicly and spoken about it publicly. We got Blazin. He's talked about it himself. I don't know his situation 110%, but what I do know is that it is possible. If you over consume cannabis, if you're drinking thousands of milligrams of edibles, if you're taking insanely huge dabs, and you're prone to going schizo, you might go schizophrenic. And that's a scary truth that a lot of people in this space don't want to accept or talk about, but it should be talked about. Because I'm, you know, growing up, being introduced to this plant as it's harmless. Here you go. There's nothing that could go wrong with it. So here am I challenging myself to consume more and more and more and more, watching people do it on the internet, thinking I could do it too, to come to the realization that shit does happen. and it is real. And you gotta consider those risks when you choose to consume. Like anything in life, always consider the risk. They say the best choices in life are calculated risks. So understand that nothing in life is 100% safe. And that's that. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is really just me sharing something from the bottom of my heart. No, I have not quit. No, I'm not gonna not upload videos. I got bangers on the way. I am gonna mix up the way I do content now. You're gonna get a little bit of everything. So I hope you enjoy it. Go subscribe to my second channel, Louis Vlogs, if you wanna see a more active side of me, seeing different sides of the world. We've been traveling over there. We've been doing food vlogs over there. It's really lit on that side of YouTube. So go check out Louis Vlogs. I love you. And thank you for rocking with me for so many years, bro. What a trip. It still trips me out every single time somebody comes up to me like, yo, man, I watch your videos. Yo, can I take a picture with you? You changed my life. I really do what I love, and I've really came to realize that I am extremely blessed, and it's all thanks to everybody who likes, supports, watches, and so forth. Shout out Hella Slumped. If you're tired of your plug or just simply want a new one, Google Hella Slumped.